A lot of players gravitate towards Goob because Goob is able to interact with other Toons in a way that is unique. Goob can pull other Toons towards him, essentially affecting another player's gameplay. Goob's ability Hug is such a powerful ability and can be very helpful in certain situations. However, there is a very dark side to Goob's ability. Goob's Hug ability can be used to grief other players and cause them harm. It can be used to annoy other players. Goob's ability can be used to trap other players. Goob's Hug ability can be used to lead your teammates into the hands of a Twisted. A few weeks ago, there was a discussion about Goob griefers in the Dandy's World Discord. This user asked Quell, is there any plans to deal with Goob griefers? So it seems like Goob griefing is on the rise. Players are getting fed up of Goob players griefing, ruining games, disruptive behavior. Quell replied saying, buddy, we deal with them already, lol, don't worry. But it seems like players don't feel that the moderation team are doing a good job because players are coming to Discord to complain about griefing Goob players. This user asked, do you have any plans on anything that could deal with griefers? Quell replied saying, we already moderate them. We have for a long time. So from this message, I assume that the moderation team are very busy dealing with griefers, especially Goob griefers, and with Goob's ability Hug that can directly affect the gameplay of another player. The moderation team must have a lot of reports about Goob griefers. This user then said, I think they're asking about Goob's ability being adjusted to avoid griefing, but I'm fairly certain you've said you're working on something to give players a boost when Goob grabs them, unless I'm misremembering, which is totally possible. Let's see what Quell said in reply. Quell replied saying, I already adjusted Goob's ability where I could on the past to deal with such. Originally, you could get hurt while pulled, now you cannot. Originally, you could pull someone out of the elevator, now you cannot. You know, there's always small steps to try and take away from griefers. Interesting. So Quell said they removed the ability for players to be hurt whilst Goob pulled you. So if a Goob player tried to get you attacked by a Twisted as the Goob is pulling you, that is not possible. So that was a change the devs made in the past. And another change was removing the possibility of Goob pulling players out of the elevator. That sounds like the ultimate griefing weapon, to pull somebody out of the elevator. Like, imagine it's panic mode, you're in the elevator safe and sound, and a Goob player pulls you out. That would be a nightmare, and that used to happen, which is so bizarre, but the dev team removed that. Quell then went on to say, all good, those changes happened a while back, so newer players may not know that. So the dev team have taken steps to ensure that Goob's ability is not wrongfully used by players, but there's still a big problem with Goob, which is his agency over other players. The ability to control the movement of another player is so powerful, and many players have reported the consequences of Goob players being able to pull them. Dandy's World exploiters often use Goob because Goob can pull other players into inaccessible areas and get innocent players stuck in those areas. This user said, I don't know if this is a glitch, but a Goob hacker pulled me out of the map and now I'm banned. And when we take a closer look, as you can see, this innocent player has been permanently banned from the game because a Goob hacker pulled this innocent player out of the map. And there are so many other cases like this. If you didn't know, Goob is actually unable to use his active ability Hug through walls, which means that if a Goob player is using his active ability through a wall, it's most likely a hacker pulling you. This user said, I tried to run and Goob pulled me through the wall and I got stuck under the shelf. The Goob pulled me out again and I was fine. And if we take a closer look, this player is stuck underneath a bookcase because a Goob hacker was able to pull them. Your Toon being in this position can actually trigger the anti-exploit message and put your Dandy's World account at risk of being banned. Goob's ability is having a huge negative impact on gameplay gameplay of innocent players. Our next case is this. This user said, Goob somehow did it. I came back and saw Goob pull me and I got here. Goob is not a hacker as far as I know. Well, let's take a look at what happened and we'll see if this is a result of a Goob hacker. This user is stuck behind a box and it's panic mode and they can't get out. They said a Goob player pulled them here. Well, the only way for Goob to pull you through objects is if the Goob is hacking. So this is what happens. Goob players pull players into inaccessible areas and then the innocent players get stuck here. Sometimes you can get banned by the system because the system thinks that you are no clipping into inaccessible areas, and sometimes you meet your fate and die because you can't get to the elevator. And then we have Goob players that aren't hackers but use Goob's ability to grief other players. This user said, this Goob kept pulling me on purpose and they had already did it twice. Let's take a look. So Pebble is running towards the elevator, it's panic mode. Everybody's trying to get to the elevator and as you can see there's a Goob player behind the Pebble and Goob grabs the Pebble. Even though Pebble is trying to get safely inside the elevator, the Goob player wants the Pebble to die. So the question is, will the dev team ever change Goob's ability that has such a powerful impact on other players? Does Goob's ability need to be reworked? Does Goob's ability need to be deleted completely and changed into something else? Because how long can this behavior go on for where Goob players are allowed to affect the gameplay of other innocent players? Something needs to be done. Next up, we're going to see footage of a Goob exploiting and putting innocent players in danger. This user said, there's a Goob exploiting in my matchmaking and he decided to pull me into these and he started to do the same to Cosmo and Flutter on floor 2. As you can see, this Yatta player is stuck inside the grass because a Goob hacker pulled them into this area. And here's a video of the Goob hacker pulling players outside of the map. As you can see, they are out of the map hoping to pull the players outside of the map and get them banned. Why the system isn't banning the Goob hackers but instead banning the innocent players, we will never know. So in closing, Goob is a lovable Toon. We all like his character. His model is amazing, but we can't ignore the dark side of Goob. Goob's ability is causing a strain on moderation because griefers love to use Goob, hackers love to use Goob, and innocent players are being negatively impacted by Goob's ability. It seems like Goob's ability has more cons instead of pros, and I wonder in the distant future if the dev team will ever change Goob's ability to not have the possibility to impact another player's gameplay negatively.